topic of loop. So we went into the topic of loop. So basically there are 4 loop constructs. So the first loop construct is just to recap what we did last class. So we have this loop, the particular task forever. That means this is an infinite loop. And then we have the second structure of loop. We saw that this is a finite loop, which means we actually impose a condition. We set a limit so that this particular loop will loop a number of times, a particular number of times. There's 2 ways that we can do this. We can either initialize it to 0 and increase it until it reaches the limit, or we set the limit and decrease it until it becomes 0. So there's 2 ways that you can do this finite loop. The third one is a while loop. You actually check the condition first and then you execute the task. The fourth one is actually you execute and then towards the end only you check whether the condition is being fulfilled or not. So these are the basic 4 structures. As we go along different examples, we will cover all these 4 loop structure. Now this particular topic which is on the loop, this requires practice. You need to spend time. If you remember the Penang story, I do not want to mention the story again. But then you need to spend time. You need to invest some time, at least half an hour a day. So always you keep in touch, so that you don't lose the touch in this loop program. And you see, I cannot cover one particular question. You can solve it using few loop structures. So it doesn't mean, of course, in class maybe you can just show in one way. But at your own time, at your own leisure time, you can actually try experimenting. That's the time when actually you really learn. So all of you, I believe all of you already got used to MPLAB, how to use MPLAB. We have been doing quizzes so far. So I hope, and you all did the video assignment as well. So I hope that really helped you in getting familiar with MPLAB. So we also touched on the topic when we mentioned about the topic of loop. How do we perform the loop? By changing the content of PC. Usually PC will actually run sequential manner. But if you want to perform the loop, you need to change the content of PC so that it will loop back or it will perform the particular loop. So how do we actually change the content of the loop? Is by using control instructions. So these are some of the instructions that actually will change the program counter. I've already showed you how it changes the content. We did that last week. So the first instruction, branch, we actually did the example on the branch, right? And we also need to see, forgot to open the chapter 1 slide. Can everyone at the back hear me? Yes. Let me just give me some time, just open chapter 1 slide. Chapter 1 we actually saw this, right? So when we were actually going through chapter 1, we actually skipped this part on the control format. Now we actually going to learn instructions, control instructions. So we're going to revisit back the format. So for now we have covered this branch instruction. This branch instruction format has branch and label. Now this label is actually 11 bits. And I mentioned during our last class that 1 bit is used for sign. This label or whatever, this little bit here is actually the offset. So offset, you can have positive offset and negative offset. So what is the range it can go? It can go positive 1023. And also negative 1024. So that is the range that you can do the branch. But then we also did the example last week that if we want to calculate the offset, it's very difficult. We need to actually have a view of the program memory so that we can visually calculate what is the offset to the location that we want to branch to. So therefore it becomes very very tedious work. But there is another way where we can actually solve that problem very easily, and that is by using label. So we have seen the offset here, we use label, and then this label must be, label always comes in a pair or more than a pair. So when you use label, it becomes easier. It automatically calculates the offset, so we don't have to worry about writing offset. So this branch instruction, control instruction, this is an infinite looping instruction. It doesn't have any condition, it just loop. So whenever your instruction is coming, you see this one. See, if you press F7, goes down, and you branch to start. So it doesn't have condition. This branch it just changes the content of PC. So this is without condition. This is an unconditional loop. Any question up to this point? So that's what we actually did up to last week. So the next one we're going to go is a conditional branch. So there is another instruction which are known as the conditional branch. So the first instruction that we learn is we learn is actually the branch. So this one branch label. So it doesn't have any condition, it doesn't impose any condition. As long as the PC comes to this instruction, it will straight away branch to the particular label. Now the next is we have also branch with condition. So BCC, it has this format. This CC can be any one of this following. Branch if carry is 1. Branch if the negative bit is 1. Branch if it's not negative condition. Branch if it's overflow. Branch if it's not 0. Branch if got overflow. Branch if 0. Now out of all these conditions, the most commonly used condition is branch 0 or branch not 0. Why we'll use this? As this conditional branch, we always use it for the conditional loop. So let's see an example. So in order for us to do the conditional loop or the finite loop, we have to follow the second loop structure. Which means what are the things that we need? First, we need to have a loop counter, and the second thing, we need to have a loop limit. What is the loop counter? Loop counter holds the value, the number of times the loop has gone through, and the loop limit is used to check whether has the loop counter has reached the loop limit or not. So in this way, we'll know whether have we reached the loop limit or not. So in this case, let's say we want to have loop count. We're gonna assign an address. Can you all see? hold the value that will count. Then I'm going to have my loop limit, which is I'm going to equate it to say 5. Example is 5. X5 or decimal 5, they are the same. So it's not a problem. So let's take the structure of you can take one of these structures, whichever structure that you want. First thing is you need to initialize the loop counter, and then you need, as long as the loop counter value is actually less than the loop limit, then you can actually execute and actually plus 1. So shall we try to follow this structure?
Yes.
Exactly. So remember, have the photographic memory, capturing. So what is the first thing that we're supposed to do? We have to initialize it to make it 0, right? Of course, by default, the loop counters and all the file registers are 0, but then we're going to clear F. You all cannot see, right? Can you all see those in the back?
No.
There must be some other software stop the size. I hate this magnifier. Oops, it's recording. Okay, so what's the first thing that we're supposed to do? We're supposed to clear the loop count, right? So we loop count. Now what's the next step? You're supposed to check for the condition, right? Supposed to check for the condition, right? Oh, sorry. My bad. We haven't learned the conditional part yet. So what we're going to do now is, no worries, hear me. We're going to change the loop. We'll come back, we'll revisit back that second structure, because after this conditional branch, only we'll learn the comparison, greater than or smaller than. That one we can use it exactly. But nevertheless, we still, when we want to do the finite loop, we still need to have the loop counter, and also we need to have the loop limit. But what we can do, one of the easiest way is we can actually load the loop limit into the loop counter, and we decrease it one by one. When it reaches 0, we stop. So we have, so instead of doing this, what we can do is we can move LW, this one down. We can leave it right, the early value. We load loop limit into, loop limit is actually now we're using the assembler directives. Loop limit we equate it to 5, which means we are loading 5 into one register. And then we are moving the content of working register to loop count. So what is the value inside loop count? 5. So let's say we want to add literal value. This is something which we did in tutorial. We want to continuously add 1 to working register. So let's say we want to continuously add the literal, we want to add the literal value 1 to working register 5 times, because now we actually have put the value 5 times. So what you have to do is, after you have performed the task, you should decrease the content of loop count by 1. So you can use the instruction decrease F loop count, then the destination is S. And then here is the part where you use the conditional branch. There is 2 conditions, right? if this 0 is actually from the status register, when you decrease this loop count, if the content of loop count is not 0, will it affect the status register? That? No, it won't. So if it's not 0, you branch to, let's say, again. Where should this again label go? Here. Why you want some of again? We just want to loop that add literally one part only, right? You're following? Why we are not looping something? Why we are not looping? Why we didn't put here or here? Why we didn't put up? Because the beginning part is just initializing the loop counter. So why you want to reinitialize it every single time? If you do that, you'll find your loop will become endless loop. So it will keep loading the same value back inside and continuously it will never get 0 and you'll keep adding for infinity. Or as long as your laptop battery lasts long. So we just want to repeat this instruction only. So that's why we put here. So what's going to happen? Because you have loaded the value, this kind of structure is very much used for conditional branch. This kind of structure, that means you load the limit into the loop counter and then what you do? You decrease it. Each time you decrease. When it becomes 0, you go out of the loop. So let's see how is it working. So after again I'm going to put NOP here so that we can see where the PC is going. So we build this. Did I share the previous loop program? Like, that's too easy, right? You all need it. Tutorial. Hex 00. So therefore you can see the value 5 is inside there. So now we're going to add 1 to working register. Of course the previous value in working register was 5. So at 1 means becomes 6. Then you see we're going to decrease loop count by 1. Okay, let me just watch. Status I think better to view in the bottom here. Show better. Still I just keep it here. So it has decreased by 1. You see it's 4 now. Does it affect the Z register, Z bit? No. Because this branch only depends on the 0 bit. So it says branch if not 0. Is it 0? No. The answer is not 0. When I see the answer bit, I am referring to what? The previous instruction. So the previous execution was actually decreasing and you are decreasing on the file register hex 00. So it becomes 4. So branch if not 0. That means you only will branch if it's not 0. So it's not 0, so it will execute this. If it is 0, it will not branch. That's what it means. So it will go to the next line. So you press again, see it goes to again. So you add 1. You see now it decreased by 1, it becomes 3. Is it 0? No. So it will branch. Again, now it's 2. 1. Okay, now it is 0. Do you see the Z becomes capital now? That means the 0 bit is on. So which means now it is 0. The resultant of this decrease is 0. Or we can say that the content of loop count is 0. So will it branch? See, it goes to the next one. So you have come out from the loop. So this is how we actually use the conditional branch. So the one of the most commonly used conditional branch is actually branch not 0, or branch if it's 0. Is it okay? Any question on this? So in this kind of structure, in this kind of conditional branch structure, always remember that the bottom part is always the initialization of with the loop limit, the loop counter. You're going to initialize the loop counter with the loop limit. And then this one is the task that you want to repeat, that you want to loop. And here you decrease the loop count. And here you check the condition of the loop. So if it's 0, it will come out. So is it okay? Yeah, it becomes 0 because we have load with the high limit. So when it becomes 0, it goes out. So for, yes.
How the programmer decrease by 1?
Decrease f is decreased by 1. Always. Increase f is increased by 1. Any other question? Yes. Hey, one of your friend asked me what is the function of add literal value 1. It's just a dummy instruction. It's a dummy instruction and it is it's just a simple instruction so that you can see the effect that is adding 1. I just use that instruction so that you can see the effect of adding 1. So it doesn't have there's no meaning to it. This is the instruction that we want to loop 5 times. Now of course later on let's say if you want to make that particular LED blink 5 times, then you can use the loop, but inside you will be writing instructions to turn on and off the LED. That you will see more in chapter 7. For now I want you to understand the concept of how to get that loop. What you want to loop, the one backstory. So here I just use this simple instruction so that you can see as each loop goes, the value is actually being added. Yeah, so that's what I want you all to see the effect. Sorry, it doesn't have any significance. The most important thing is, this is like the sandwich of the loop. Always the top part will have for this kind of structure, for the conditional branch. Always you load the loop limit into the loop counter. Take note that loop limit is a value one. It's not a file register. But loop counter must be a file register because only a file register can store a value inside. Do you get the difference? So what we are doing here is we are loading the loop limit inside the loop counter so that we can decrease it 1 by 1, and when it reaches 0, you stop the loop. Is that okay? Any questions? Any other questions? So that means 2 weeks there won't be any quiz. Peace of mind. But also scares me because you'll forget a lot of things. No questions? I'll upload this code if I remember. Yeah, better copy paste it first. instruction of the instruction format for a conditional branch. So this now we saw on the branch. Conditional branch, if you see for the conditional branch, it actually requires more of two. Definitely it makes sense because it requires a few more bits to store the different type of condition. So how many bits of offset that it has? Only 8. Out of the 8 bits, you use one for sign bit, you remains with 7, which means it can go positive 1 to 7 steps down and negative 1 to 8 steps. So that means the range has reduced drastically. So if you write, what do I mean when I say the range? So here, this is the branch instruction, right? Can you see I'm highlighting? You cannot see I'm highlighting. That's fine. Yeah, you don't even see it. This one I can't change the fonts. The thing is, the magnifying, I have no idea why I cannot do full screen. See, it only allowing me to do, it's not allowing me to do full screen. Instruction, right? This is the label. Now, here is where you're referring to, right? The distance from this instruction or from this label to this label for a conditional branch should not exceed more than 1 to 7 positive or negative 1 to 8. Let's say you write here branch not 0 and again, but then this label again. Let's say you suddenly were excited, you write a very long programming, 14-page program. So in the first page you write like this, branch not 0 again. In this label again you write on the 14th page down. So when you compile, when you execute this, you'll have an error. You'll say out of range. Why is it out of range? Because it has exceeded that 1 to 7 steps for conditional branch. The conditional branch can only detect the label if it's within the range. That's what it means. So if you get overexcited, you write branch not 0 again here, and another partner of again somewhere far away, then you have out of range. But never ever worry about that because you will never write a program that hey, don't think I'm actually minimizing yours, but you won't write that long program. That's the reality of it. Understand? But when you use branch has a further range, 1023, positive 1023 steps up and negative 1024 steps in reverse. So when you use branch, yes, you can go very far. But same thing with branch also. If you write a program which is too long, you write branch to start, but then where you put the branch to start at the end of the 14th page. Where's the start? The beginning of the first page. So yeah, may have out of range. So that is the limitation. So do you understand the difference between the offset range? So that is on branch and conditional branch. Any question up to this point? Any questions? Yes. So what your friend is asking, offset. It's not required because we already solved it how to create this label. So there's no need for you to actually calculate the offset. Any other questions? Do you want to ask? Those at the back? Those on darkness. Come from the dark side. Who has watched the Star Wars the full episode?
I mean the old one.
The old one? Because the old one is actually premiere when I was small. Is that here? I never watched one Star Wars movie. Because I always sleep at 10 when I was small. And they premiere at 9. And the show, but then I just watch one, and when I woke up I'll be crying, why not get off the show? But still it's an interesting story. Anyway, coming back, it's recording. Carry on with this subject. So that is on the branch and also the conditional branch. Can those at the back hear me? So I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Miss Zarin. She is among you all. She is your new lecturer. So Zarin is there. Zarin, would you mind standing up for a while? So this is Zarin, Miss Zarin. A big round of applause. You all know why you're clapping or not? She's a new lecturer. You must clap and encourage. So Miss Zarin will be taking over micro-P, DSP, and also render, and so many other subjects. So she just joined Unit 10. So she's coming. She'll be joining the class to learn how the class is being conducted. So Zarin, for the first semester, we are recording it using video. It's a lousy recording, but later we'll edit, make less Star Wars kind of effect. My marker pen began Jedi swing. It's a try to have an archive. So if you want, I can pass you the archive, then you can see for the future generations. So please make sure Miss Zarin feel at home. So later when she's teaching you all, then you all. Okay, so coming back here. So these are the two things: branch and also the conditional branch. So remember, the structure of the conditional branch always follows that kind of flavor. The next thing is we're going to learn is another instruction, which is go to. Have you seen this go to instruction before?
Yes.
Yes. Go to start, right? You have seen that. Go to start. So this go to is actually the same as branch. It is the same as branch, but what is the difference? Let us see from the format of chapter 1. This is, can you all see? No. Yes. I think next time I have to take this monitor. It's difficult for you all to see. So this is branch. This is branch. This is go to. Now go to has how many offset bit? Little bit. Yes, 20 bits. 0 to 7, 8 to 19. So go to is actually a 32-bit instruction. Branch is actually a 16-bit instruction. So if you have 20-bit immediate value and if 1 bit you use for the sign, you have 19 bits, right? So what's the range? The range is quite big. The range is definitely quite big. So which means this go to label, if I think 2 to the power of 19 raised to 1,000, 1 million. So you can go positive 1 million, negative 1 million, which covers the whole program memory, which is for 2 million locations. So which means if you use go to instructions and you use it with the label, you can actually branch or send the PC to any part of the program memory. So that's the difference. That's the only difference between go to and branch. While branch has the limitation of 1023 steps positive and so negative 1024. Go to label has positive 1 million steps and also negative 1 million, which covers the whole. What's the value? Like Okay, positive 500,000 and also negative 500,000, which makes like 1 million range. It is actually very, very large range. So then, go-to and branch having the same function, the same thing. How they function is the same. You just have to use the label. Go-to also use label, and you have used it before in the go-to start, right? Epilogue, you have used it go-to start. Now the next question that you may ask is, when to use branch, when to use go-to? The answer is, branch you can use like within a program, because you always know it's very nearby. And sometimes if you want to, if you feel your program is too long, then you can actually, instead of branch, you can actually use go-to. So both are more or less the same. If you want to use branch, you can use branch in the same program like this. But let's say from the program start template you want to go to start, or if you want to go to another subroutine function, you can use go to. Within the same main program function, you can use branch. Of course, you can also use go to, no harm. The only difference between branch and go to is just that branch is 16-bit instruction, go to is 32-bit. But at the same time, it has the advantage of having a wider range. That's all. So continuing with our, this go to instruction always is being used with these sets of instruction. Now these are few instructions . Now these are instructions that will change the program counter as well. But they will actually change it by one step. So these instructions, like for example, compare file register, skip if equal. Compare file register, skip if greater than. Compare, this is decrease, skip if 0, decrement, okay, this is a typo error here, supposed to be EC. So increase. So this one, you see, all this instruction has this one, the word S. S means skip. Skip. Skip if it actually equals. Skip if it's less. Skip if it's less. Skip, 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 skip. So this skip is actually not changing the program counter. It actually makes it skip. So these instructions are always paired together with go-to. They are always paired together with go-to. So let's see, for example, now we'll take this structure, first one. What's the first thing we're supposed to do? We're supposed to clear F the loop count, right? After you clear F loop count, what's the next step we're supposed to do? Already initialized it is 0. You need to check with the loop limit, right? The loop limit is just now we set it at 5. You must check is as long as I is actually less or equals to the loop limit, you execute, otherwise no. So which condition do you think that you want to use? Or skip if greater than. You should use skip if less than. I'll show you how it will use. Okay, whenever whenever you want to use this, what was the function just now? Compare file registers if less than. So this instruction has two, right? F and A. F is actually the file register that you want to compare. Now, you want to compare with what? The file register is comparing with what? So always when you say compare, compare means you're comparing the file register, but you're comparing with what? You always compare with working register. All this instruction comparing will always compare with working register. So, when you are asking this question, compare file register with working register. Always remember that your file register will be on your left hand side, your working register will be on your right hand side. So you are asking this question, compare, skip if it's what? If this one is less than working register. If yes, then you skip. That's what it means. Compare file register means you are comparing file register with working register. So if the working register is less, if the content of the working register is makes more sense. If the content of the file register is less than the content of working register, then you skip. Yes, you skip. If it's not less than, then don't skip. Yes, what are we supposed to use?
Sir,
Yes.
one question. Both the programming up there, the code using CPFSEQ and also CPFSGT. What's the difference?
This one, first one is it?
First and second one.
The first one if it's equal, the second one is wrong. Thank you for finding that out. So where was I? Yeah. So that means this compare function. Okay, you don't make finding again. This compare function, I have to use it with working register, right? Because this compare function will always compare with working register. So what should I actually compare it with? Remember I told you that in loop we always have two things, right? What is the first one? The loop counter. The second one? Loop limit. So this one should be a loop limit or loop count? Limit. Limit. Oi. This should be your loop counter. This should be your loop limit. So currently what's the loop limit value? 5. So what you have to do, we are actually following the second structure, remember? Second structure starts from 0, we compare, then execute the instruction, then we increase the loop count by 1. So currently, loop counter we have initialized to 0. Is this less than 5? Yes. Yes. So it will skip. When it's skipping, what is supposed to do? You're supposed to do the you must load the loop limit you must load the loop limit value inside the working register before you call the compare function. Why? Because this compare function always compares the file register with the working register. Now I have already loaded the value 5 in the working register. So which file register I should compare now? Loop count. This one has only this field, right? 2 fields. So if it is less than what it's supposed to do, skip. It will skip, right? Skip means it will skip by 1. So you go to this line. If it's not less than means, what does it mean? That means if this one increase becomes 5. Is 5 less than 5? No. So it won't skip. In other words, we want to exit, right? So here we use go to exit. This one later we'll do. We'll do that. So now this part, this instruction will only be executed when this condition is not true. If loop count is not less than loop limit, then it won't skip. So which means it will execute this instruction. As long as loop count is less than loop limit, it will skip. It will skip by 1. So what are you supposed to do? Any instructions that you want to do? We don't want to use NW because we will always compare with working register. Okay, we'll use increase F, but we'll increase X to 1. And so this is the task that we want to do, which is the increase F. After that, after the task, what are we supposed to do in the flowchart? Refer to the flowchart because I don't want to change the making my First, we initialize the loop counter, and then next, first we actually initialize and then we compare. The compare part is here. This is where we are comparing, right? After comparing is the instruction that we want to loop. After that is what? Yes, increase. In this case, we gonna increase F, loop count F A. After that is what? After it goes back. So that last one, is it a conditional branch or unconditional branch? Last one. Conditional branch or unconditional? You understand the question? This branch, this one. Is it a conditional branch or unconditional branch? Conditional. Yes, it's unconditional. It has to go here. There is no condition which determines whether it goes here or not. It has to go. So which means, what is the instruction that you have to use here? Yes, you have to use branch. So where do you want to branch to? Based on the flowchart? Where does in the flowchart, where does the flow goes back? Checking the condition, right? Checking the condition means where? Where do you actually check the condition? It's actually here, right? In this case, if you notice from here to here, we are not using working register. Therefore, it is okay to branch here. But in case if inside here you are using working register, the content of working register will be changed. So you need to branch it here. So to be on the safe side, always branch back to move LW, or the portion or the part where you load back the limit. note that this compare function always has a double pair. This compare instruction always comes with a double pair. The first pair is always have the move LW.